Prince Philip's body was interred in April 2021, but not in its final resting place. Here's when, where, and why he'll be moved. Queen Elizabeth II of the United Kingdom died at Balmoral Castle in Scotland on September 8, 2022. The 96-year-old was Britain's longest reigning monarch, with 70 years of rule. She was also the world's second longest reigning monarch, behind King Louis XIV, who ruled France for 72 years. Queen Elizabeth's death marked the end of an era. After surpassing Queen Victoria's record 63-year reign, Elizabeth said,
"Inevitably, a long life can pass by many milestones. My own is no exception."
Many historic events occurred during the Queen's rule. Numerous former British colonies gained independence, the UK joined and left the European Union, the British military was involved in numerous operations, including the 2003 invasion of Iraq. London hosted the Olympic Games in 2012. In 2021, the Queen was left heartbroken by the death of her husband, Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh. He'd been her loving companion for 73 years, through most of her reign as queen and then some. Surprisingly, Philip wasn't initially buried in the same place where Elizabeth will be, but that's soon to change. When Prince Philip died, Britain was in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic lockdown. All British citizens had to abide by strict social distancing guidelines and restrictions, including the Queen herself. Even though he was the Queen's husband, Prince Philip, like everyone else in the royal family who isn't the monarch, was only entitled to a ceremonial royal funeral, according to the royal family's website. Because of that and the pandemic, Prince Philip's funeral was a small and intimate affair. The Queen, wearing a black mask, sat alone in St. George's Chapel in Windsor Castle, wiping the tears from her eyes. In contrast, Queen Elizabeth II's funeral will be a lavish, stately affair on a grand scale. The Guardian reports that the service will be held inside Westminster Abbey, where the Queen's coronation occurred in 1953. Afterward, she will be buried in the King George VI Memorial Chapel in Windsor. Express reports that Prince Philip's body was interred under St. George's Chapel at Windsor Castle. That was never intended to be his final resting place. Royal protocol dictates that Prince Philip's remains will be moved to be next to his wife's when she is buried. On the day Queen Elizabeth died, mourners outside Buckingham Palace noticed an unusual occurrence in the sky. A double rainbow had appeared, and many viewed it as a symbol of Prince Philip and the Queen being reunited. Then Princess Elizabeth and Prince Philip's marriage in 1947 was pretty unusual for the time. Traditionally, future monarchs had their spouses chosen for them. Marriages were to build alliances and strengthen power, but Elizabeth and Philip, who was at the time the Prince of Greece and Denmark, bucked the trend and married for love. As fans of The Crown will know, Princess Elizabeth had to fight to snag her man.
Are you sure you wouldn't have preferred one of those, someone with a grand title, rather than a homeless Charlie Kraut?
Many members of the British royal establishment believed Prince Philip's status to be below that of the future queen. They thought she could marry somebody of a more noble lineage and with a better title. According to the royal biographer A.N. Wilson, there were also many objections to Prince Philip's sometimes envelope-pushing jokes and tendency to speak his mind. Wilson recounts that Princess Elizabeth was warned that Prince Philip was entirely the wrong person to choose as a husband, according to the Telegraph. The couple proved the naysayers wrong by staying married for 73 years.